Nation, and welcome to this month's episode of the Top 10. Every month I do a Top 10 related to a movie coming out. This month is Deadpool & Wolverine, the third installment of the Deadpool franchise, the only extra addition into the MCU. There might be a television show, but really those shows have really started to come to a halt. So this is our only, and this is going to be kind of a cool movie because you're going to bring Hugh Jackman in there. You got Ryan Reynolds back as Deadpool, and then you're going to have the MCU. Looks like the TVA is going to be in there. There's going to be some other characters show up. So that's going to be very, very interesting. So this is a good opportunity to talk about my 10 favorite superhero movies. And this is a topic I have done before. I've done this multiple times, probably with Rainy Cage, but this is a new series. I do it every month. So now, after I do this, then I can, in the future, I could do top 10 Marvel movies. I could do top 10 DC movies. I could do top 10 Batman movies, which that will be coming one day. So let's begin the top 10. So at number 10, I'm going with Wonder Woman. The first Wonder Woman movie was absolutely incredible because, there really wasn't a really good female superhero movie. And Wonder Woman was great because, it's set during World War I, which is a period of history and war films that we do not ever see. So that was fresh. Seeing her and Gal Gadot play this character who I've never been the biggest Gal Gadot fan, but she absolutely nails the role and really becomes Princess Diana, and I think she does a really good job. Also, the chemistry between her and Chris Pine might be one of the best relationships I've ever seen in a comic book film, and I think they really work with each other. And the action is great. Like the No Man's Land scene alone it's like one of the coolest action movie scenes in a superhero movie, or even an action movie. So that's really cool. And the villain, it's fine. It's not the best villain ever, but it's serviceable for the movie. And not all movies in a superhero movie are good villains. Like look at the early MCU, and some of those movies are really good, but their villains kind of were lacking. So yeah, number 10, Wonder Woman. I had to include it on this list. At number 9, I'm going with the film Unbreakable. Unbreakable was a movie that came out right before X-Men, before really the big superhero craze happened in the 2000s. And it's an M. Night Shyamalan film where Bruce Willis, he is a guy who survives a train accident, and he's unbreakable. He's hard, no one can really take him down, and he's like a security guard. But what this movie kind of does about like superhero stuff is really, really cool, and in the vein when it was made in, which really helped jumpstart a lot of superhero stuff. Because after this film, you had the X-Men movie come out, you have Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movie, and it was cool that you took a lot of inspiration from a lot of superhero stuff between Lex Luthor and Superman and Batman and all those cool characters that we all like, and to put it onto the big screens, and made Bruce Willis, which was a really cool actor during this time period. And then you have Sam Jackson, who is Mr. Glass, who he breaks every bone in his body by just moving, but he has the intelligence of Lex Luthor. I love Unbreakable. It's definitely a movie that I always like to include in a top 10 video for superhero movies because I think it's a good. My number 8 is Man of Steel. Man of Steel is my favorite Superman movie, and Superman was always a character I always found very boring. He's very, truth, justice, the American way. I'm Superman. Ha ha. But over the years, I've watched a lot of stuff with Superman, and there's always that complexity to the character. It's like, because he has to live with that I am the last of my kind. And Henry Cavill, I think, really nails the role as Superman. I hate that he really never got a Superman 2, and maybe we'll never see that because it's never going to happen. But maybe one day in a far future, maybe we'll see that. We probably won't. But Man of Steel is great. General Zod is such a great villain. A villain who believes he is the hero. And that's one of the most scary villains in the world because they think whatever they do is for the necessity of what they are doing. And that's absolutely scary. We have a lot of people in our world who's just like that. So I absolutely love I love Man of Steel, and the Hans Zimmer score soundtrack is absolutely incredible. I mean, what are you going to do when you're not saving the world? Is just one of the greatest musical themes, and I think eclipses John Williams' original Superman theme. At number 7, I'm going with Kick-Ass. Kick-Ass was the movie directed by Matthew Vaughn, starring Aaron Taylor Johnson, and it's about a guy who says, "Why does no one ever become a superhero?" And he puts on a costume. You have Nick Cage, who is absolutely hilarious, and then you have Chloe Grace Moretz, who was really young at the time, as Hit Girl. And I think I just talked about it in another video, but it's always kind of entertaining to see a little girl cussing and doing some action. So that is enjoyable. And then you also have Mark Strong, who's the villain of the movie, and he is very, very enjoyable in the film as well. So I think this movie's great. It's a great there's some great action. The scene when Hit Girl is trying to save both Kick-Ass and Big Daddy is great. The camera work, the music is I love this film. So my number 6 is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This is a film I almost forgot to include in my top 10 because I was looking at it and I was like, I don't have a Spider-Man movie. I had to include Spider-Man because it's one of my favorite superhero films. And I had to include Into the Spider-Verse, which I think is my favorite Spider-Man movie. And that's saying something because No Way Home is really good. The Spider-Man 2 is really good. And I really like The Amazing Spider-Man. But Into the Spider-Verse, I think, hits at a really personal level because we go into a character that no one really knew much about Miles Morales as Spider-Man. Some people did, the comic book nerds. But now, some people, they're Spider-Man, especially with the Insomniac Spider-Man games. But I love the story they go on. And I love seeing the bringing in the other Spider-Mans, the traditional Peter Parker Spider-Man, the Nick Cage Spider-Man, which is absolutely awesome, and then the villain is Kingpin, which is really cool. I love Into the Spider-Verse. I think I like this one better than the second one, but the second one is really good too, and I'm looking forward to whenever the third one comes out. But yeah, Into the Spider-Verse is my favorite Spider-Man movie. I don't think there's a question for me. My number 5 is The Incredibles. This was a movie that came out in the early 2000s Pixar film. Pixar's first PG-13 movie, by the way. And it's like a take on like the Fantastic Four meets Watchmen, and how there was a golden age of superheroes, and then all the heroes had to put down their capes and live normal lives. And then you would bring in the villain of Syndrome, who wanted to be Mr. Incredible's sidekick, but he said, "Fly home, buddy. I work alone." And then how his powers work, and also Edna Joyce said, no capes allowed, they kill you. And I think that was really cool. I love The Incredibles, and also the family dynamic. Like, how hard is it to have a family, to be a superhero, and also try to have a family is very, very cool. So I love The Incredibles. My number 4 is X-Men Days of Future Past, which is a film I've recently rewatched, and I think it is my favorite X-Men movie because I love the time travel elements of it. I love how we integrate both the original cast and the first class cast of James McAvoy and Patrick Stewart are both Professor Xavier for me. Both Michael Fassbender and Ian McKellen are Magneto to me. And I love their dynamic. And I'm also bringing Hugh Jackman, who was a big focus of these 2000 X-Men movies, and to kind of have him as the bridge between both of these worlds is really cool. And the action's great. The Terminator 2 kind of story is very interesting. So I think Days of Future Past is an awesome movie. It's one that it was my favorite movie of my first year doing top 10 videos. So X-Men Days of Future Past will always hold my heart. And my number 3 is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. It's funny because looking back on it, Winter Soldier I like more than Days of Future Past, and they came out the same year, but neither of those two movies would be my favorite movie looking back on it. But the decision that was made back in 2014. But Winter Soldier is great. It's, for me, this was the movie that changed the game for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. How the action was just shot so much shot so much better. The character of Captain America, who was the most boring character really on paper, but then you like, this is a guy who was born in the 1920s, who is taken out of his time, and he doesn't really fit in anymore. And they make Captain America into like a Jason Bourne spy action movie, which was really cool to watch. And I think this movie's just great. I think the character work of Captain America is cool. Bringing in Falcon was a really cool character as well. So I really enjoy this movie. So I think it has to be on this list. My number 2 is Avengers: Infinity War. Avengers: Infinity War, I think it's an almost perfect movie, and it feels like the Empire Strikes Back of the Marvel movies. The movie's all about Thanos, which is great because a lot of Marvel movies don't really focus a lot in on our villains, and he is just so conniving, knows exactly what to do, what to piss people off on, and how to and trying to unite the Infinity Stones, and seeing other characters like seeing Spider-Man fighting with the Guardians of the Galaxy is really cool. But Thanos, for me, like how he goes from one place to the other is just awesome, and how he unites the Infinity Stones, or when he destroys the universe, you're just like, that's kind of cool. I get it, but I always like supervillains. I think Thanos is such a cool villain, and you understand where he's coming from. It's horrible what he's trying to do, but you can also understand. And once again, the scariest villains are the ones that think they are the heroes. So yeah, that was great. And the number 1 superhero movie is The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight, I think, is untouched. I don't think we'll ever see a movie as good as The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is the godfather of superhero movies, because Godfather kind of set the stage for crime films, and Dark Knight set the stage for superhero films. And the call Dark Knight just a superhero film is an injustice to The Dark Knight, because it's a great crime movie. The heist elements of the movie is great. The acting by Heath Ledger's Joker, he was like, you want to see a magic trick? I want to make this from disappear. Ta-da! It's gone. And it just somewhat what he does, and the story with Batman and Bruce Wayne, who's like, that's the world always going to need a Batman, and that decision. And then you also bring in Harvey Dent, Aaron Eckhart, who at the end kind of turns into that Two-Face character, who he was that White Knight, and then the Joker just corrupted him. And The Dark Knight for me is just such a good film, so directed by one of my favorite directors of all time, Christopher Nolan. I think the movie is just shot well, directed well, acted as well. That's the third movie kind of, you're like, well, it doesn't end the trilogy so good, but Batman Begins was great, Dark Knight was good. And to be honest with you, before I end this video, I would have included a bunch of other Batman movies. Probably I would have included Batman Begins, and there was a good chance I would have brought up Robert Pattinson's or Matt Reeves' Batman movie, because I love that movie as well. So that, and like I said, one day a Batman movie top 10 is coming. So just be prepared. So guys, those are my top 10 superhero movies of all time. What's your favorite superhero movie? And are you looking forward to Deadpool and Wolverine? It comes out today, which, you know, I'm shooting this in the past. But when this video comes out, I've actually already seen it, because I think I have tickets for the Thursday night showing of Deadpool and Wolverine. So I'm looking forward to seeing that movie. So guys, wherever your thoughts are below, comment below, let me know. Tell me what your favorite superhero movie is, or just tell me what you thought of Deadpool and Wolverine. And check out my review of Deadpool and Wolverine probably tomorrow. So guys, if you like this video, click that thumbs up button, subscribe to see more, and tell your friends about Easy Nation. All too easy.